All right, welcome back. We're discussing the impact of this election. Remember, Imran Khan has declared victory, though the Election Commission, to be specific, has just said that they will be announcing the result formally tomorrow. Ambassador Pinak, you were making that point over here, and the question that I want to ask you, that he spoke about India when he made that point about foreign policy approaches after talking about China, Afghanistan, US, Iran, and Saudi Arabia in that order. So what do you feel about his priorities there? And how do you think India will look at his statements when he said that we want peace with India?
Well, I think hoping for peace with India, trade with India, and concentrating on our problems of poverty, development, and all the social and economic issues, creating jobs. These are all par for the course. I think any right-thinking person in any country would say all these things, and I think this is completely sort of, what shall I say, not rocket science, that good relations will lead to more prosperity, more development, etc. But I also came away with the sense after listening to his speech that he made it conditional. He made it conditional on the Kashmir issue, that we should solve it by sitting down and all these things. And so, but then again, I go back to my point that Kashmir issue, if we want to solve it, certainly we can talk about it, but not by Pakistan sending terrorists into India.
All right. And Alyssa, about the US, he said that we want a mutual relationship with the US. Alyssa, he said we want a mutual relationship. Just looking at the dominance of the army in the narrative in this election, about the kind of role they have played, how do you think Donald Trump and the United States will approach Pakistan now?
Well, I think the Trump administration is going to have to very quickly take a close look at the present state of U.S.-Pakistan relations and how an Imran Khan-led Pakistani government will enable progress or not. U.S.-Pakistan ties right now are not in the greatest place. You might recall that the Trump administration back in January suspended all forms of security assistance to Pakistan as a means of applying greater pressure on the question of active terrorist groups that are in Pakistan. We are now almost one full year in to the new U.S. South Asia strategy, which was announced last August by the president himself. So I suspect there's going to be a lot of scrambling inside the White House to take a look at how the South Asia strategy can be further advanced or not advanced, and what the Imran Khan leadership now poses. Yeah,
and Alyssa, the fact is, in the last 71 years of Pakistan's history, this is only the second time when a transfer of power between civilian governments is taking place. The army has always dominated the narrative. Do you think that this time around, with Imran Khan in the driver's seat, the army will play a greater role indirectly? Power without accountability?
Well, that is what I think most people assume at this point. I feel quite sad, to be frank, about this election, because in many ways, this could have been a moment where 200 million Pakistanis could say, you know, we've now had the second transfer of power from one civilian government to the next. But over the course of the last year and a half, with the kind of selective focus on anti-corruption issues solely on the PMLN in the presence of former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, there has been a winnowing of the field of eligibility and a weakening of the PMLN, again, very in a selective way. I'm not saying people shouldn't focus on corruption. That's a very important issue, absolutely. But it should be a focus across the board, not just selectively to weaken certain candidates. I think this is going to raise questions about how clear and free and fair the actual field has been, and how actively people have been able to exercise their own electoral choices.
Okay, and Ambassador Basit, so that's a point that is being raised by Alyssa. A lot of international papers, agencies have been reporting this, that this is not Imran Khan's victory. It's a victory of a party, of a group, which was not on the ballot paper. How will Pakistan change this perception now?
Pakistan is already changing. I mean, I do not know how this international media is getting its vibes from Pakistan. But if you ask the people of Pakistan, you're all very happy, you're all very satisfied, you're all very optimistic about our future. So I think there is a general, in Pakistan, there's so much confidence now in the country that I cannot explain you in words. So we're all very confident about the future of our country. So I do not know, your distinguished guest mentioned about the 200 million people. It's a sad thing, but we personally feel in Pakistan that it has been a very fair election, and we are moving on.
And very quickly, Ambassador Basit. Very quickly, Ambassador Basit, I'm running out of time. The kind of economic situation that Pakistan is facing right now, do you think his immediate priority would be to foster even closer ties with China? Will foreign policy approach vis-a-vis China be priority number one for Pakistan?
Well, definitely, economic challenges are humongous. There is no question about that. Now, I personally feel that his first visit abroad would be China, to ensure that the CPAC and all other initiatives which we have with China are realized as quickly as possible and in their totality. Because CPAC, as you know, has 4 major components, including to increase the industrial base of Pakistan. So I think his priority when it comes to foreign policy, his first visit would be to China.
Okay, so that's a big statement. You're saying that his first trip would be China, and China would remain the priority for the Pakistani government. We'd like to thank Abdul Basit, Alyssa, Ayres, and also Pinak Chakravarty for joining us. The big question is, how much room will Imran Khan have to maneuver with the kind of dominance that the Pakistani army has? And how will India now approach Pakistan when you have a new prime minister, but you also have army playing a very, very big indirect role? Thanks for watching.